tonight we're going to start on a new area of teaching and training. We're going to start moving into what we call the Millionaires of the Bible, and I'll explain that a little bit as we get closer to it. But before we get started, we have a couple of things I want to share with you. And first of all, last week we took a donation for Bloom. Somebody take these and pass them around. And I just want to show you their kindness in response to our generosity. And it's a nice letter that the folks from Bloom wrote for us. Welcome, Tom. And when I say us, it is to us. Of course, Atlanta New Thought Center is the name of the organization. And since my name was on the source of the donation, it was there. We took a donation last week, and it came up to about a total of $111. In fact, it was $111 even. And out of the Atlanta New Thought, we just put the rest there and, made it $250. Because Bloom sells bricks, and you can buy a brick for $50. And the bricks are put on the ground, of course, where the kids walk in and out of the foster home. And on the brick, you can put a quote. So we have 5 bricks. That's a good start, isn't it? All right. Some of you are thinking, well, $250, I wanted it to be $25,000. Well, start with 25. So often we want to do something big when we haven't even started with something small. And I've learned years ago, seeds are powerful. So you've got to start with what you have. What do we have? So I felt really good about it, and I kept the color copy of the letter. And they were really inspired. By the way, on the bricks, we put a positive message on each brick. Something like, only believe, believe it, conceive it, achieve it. A lot of the things we taught in the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich class are on the 5 bricks. So if you're ever over at Bloom, you can go by and see. And again, thank you guys for making that happen, okay? Isn't that exciting? Well, that's what I'm talking about. Well, what if that could have been $250,000? I think it can be. I believe it can be. I believe all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing and building wealth. So with all that said, tonight we're moving into what I call the College of Excellence in a very basic beginning way. But again, you've got to start small. One man said, it's an old Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 leagues starts with the first step. So you've got to take the first step. So tonight is the first step. And things have happened, great things have happened. O'Neill and Turner working with us with recording the videos. They started out with just a little bit of equipment. They have invested in some equipment, so they have better lights, okay? So we are growing richer, all right? They have new cameras and all kinds of stuff they bought, new backdrops. So these guys are serious about the Think and Grow Rich message with their message, and we're just partnering together. They help me, I help them, and we're just gonna go out there and make a whole lot of money and give back, okay? And you are a part of this. But with all that said, let's get into tonight's teaching. So I want you to say after me, I feel happy, I feel healthy, and I feel terrific. Say it again, I feel happy, I feel healthy, and I feel terrific. You sound so good. Say it one more time. I feel happy, I feel healthy, and I feel terrific. All right, we have a couple of wonderful things I want to hand out to you before we start tonight. And Tom, help me out with these if you would. That's a page for you to put your notes on. And the remaining ones just put on the table. And here is what I call the gold card. Now, you're going to need those things in this class. Number one, you're going to need to take notes, because writing crystallizes thought. When you write things down, you crystallize thought. And the gold card is a card we will use for affirmations periodically throughout the teaching. So just take one, pass the gold card around, and take a sheet for notes, because we're going to cover a lot of material, and we're going to cover a lot of material fast. Now, this class is only for the serious student. Does that make sense? So how many serious students do we have here? I mean the serious students. Many people play around with wealth and play around with prosperity and play around with the thoughts of doing many of these things. And you can tell by their actions. This class is for people that really want to go to the next level. And as I said during Think and Grow Rich, so many of the concepts we were teaching were right out of the Bible. The thought hit me one day, why not teach Catherine Ponder's books on the millionaires of the Bible? First of all, how many of you have heard of her series, The Millionaires of the Bible? How many of you have listened to The Secret before? Anybody here listen to The Secret? Well, in The Secret, it's mentioned. Now, I know some of you say, well, I heard The Secret, but I didn't hear that. Or maybe you weren't listening closely or close enough. Now, I know there's all kinds of stuff in The Secret. They go through a lot of stuff. But at one point, Rhonda, who put together The Secret, says something like, some of the most fascinating books on wealth is the Millionaire of the Bible series by Catherine Ponder. And she said that, and it just struck me one day. I have never read any of Catherine Ponder's books. I'm down in South Alabama doing a training in Daphne, Alabama, which is near Mobile. By the way, it's the only part of Alabama that's on the ocean. Somebody said Florida tricked Alabama back in the day. Have you ever noticed that the whole Florida panhandle is on the ocean? And Alabama starts up above the panhandle, so they said they kind of tricked them the way Mr. Seward did the Russians with Alaska years ago with the property. But a little part of Alabama, Gulf Shores, Mobile, Daphne is on the water. So I'm doing a training there at a large Toyota dealership, Ritz-Carlton type customer service training. And they had a book lending library. And I went back there and grabbed a book and picked it up, and guess who the book was by? Catherine Ponder. It was a green book. So I'd heard it on The Secret, but somehow subconsciously I did not act on it. And then, how many of you know when life's trying to talk to you, things will come to you in many ways. It's almost like stupid. Here's the book, read it. And then when I picked up that book, I thought, wow, this is that lady Catherine Ponder. And that book was called Open Your Mind to Prosperity. I took the book and read it. I thought this is some of the best teaching on prosperity and success and personal development I have ever heard. Why? A lot of people are writing books just to sell books. Some people write books to share a message. And that's the way I believe Sister Ponder is. She's now like 88 years of age and out in California and still doing some teaching, all right? So if you have not read her books, I encourage you to read them. Now, again, a little preface. When we talk about the millionaires of the Bible, I'm not approaching it in a religious way. I'm approaching it in a principle way. I don't care what your religion is, your background is. I care, but really it doesn't make me any difference. I'm not teaching religion, I'm teaching principles. Because I believe the Bible is the greatest prosperity book ever written on the planet. But we've used it to beat people over the head and tell them thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, until most people miss the real message of the Bible. How many of you know that Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine? Now just think of that. Okay, what do you do with wine? I don't drink that wine. Well, Jesus made it, so he must have thought somebody was going to. So Jesus is so non-religious. His first miracle is actually a prosperity miracle of turning water into wine. And it was a whole lot of wine he made. Okay, so when you really look at the life of Jesus, he was constantly trying to teach people how to have fun, how to enjoy life, and how to live in abundance. And it's even called good news for a reason, all right? So when we teach the principles from this book, again, I'm not coming from it a religious standpoint as a theologian. We're talking about principles from a book that is even acknowledged on the movie The Secret, which we consider a very secular book. So I think somehow in the world things are coming together. You know, truth will prevail in the end, no matter where it's coming from. So whatever your religious belief, I want you to feel free to come. Tell your friends to come. If they can't handle the millionaires of the Bible, just tell them it's a millionaires in training class, okay? Millionaires in training. I like that. Everybody say millionaires in training. All right, with all that said, let's get started. And we're going to talk some about the millionaire from Nazareth. And first of all, Catherine Ponder said that the abundant prosperity consciousness, which millionaires of the Bible symbolized, is available to us today. So what she's really saying is the abundant consciousness, the prosperity consciousness that the millionaires of the Bible lived in are available to us today. But we must understand how to walk in that consciousness. And first of all, we must clear away some of the debris that's in our brain or in our mind about prosperity, about wealth, and even about this man called Jesus. So we're going to talk some about Jesus and his prosperity tonight. First of all, we're going to learn the inner secrets of prosperity, which all the great millionaires know. To me, wealth is really not outward, it's inward, all right? And I really don't enjoy being around people too much that are greedy about getting things outwardly, because I really believe the wealth comes from the inside out. And that's why the truths of the Bible are so important, because the truth of the Bible is what we call esoteric truth. And esoteric has to do with from within. Everybody say from within. The whole world focuses on wealth from without, thrills from without, fun from without, pleasure from without. But what Jesus was constantly teaching us is how to live from within. And when you learn to live from within, you have a whole lot more peace in your life. Is that right? From within, when you really learn to flow from within. So in the Atlanta New Thought College of Excellence, we're calling it a college simply because we're educating people, but it's really about an education in esoteric motivation, or how to be motivated from within. Jesus' entire life showed his interest in prosperity. Jesus endorsed wealth as long as it was honorable in its gain, in its means. And Jesus' prosperity formulas will work for us today. Now, I think what Jesus was really trying to teach people in the area of prosperity was how to prosper as he prospered. How many of you really believe that? I don't think he was just trying to say, hey, I'm Jesus, so I can do this cool stuff, but you can't. No, he was trying to constantly get people to see you could do it. Do you remember when he fed the multitude? If you've ever read the book, and if you haven't, you'll learn a little bit about some of the stories in it. But when he fed the multitude, before he did, he turned to his disciples. He said, where are we going to get food to feed all these people? Now, why do you think he asked that question? Anybody, why do you think he asked that? Right, he needed a seed. Okay, that's very good. Anybody else? Any thoughts? Why do you think he asked, where are we going to get food to feed all these? Testing them. Could he have been testing, good word, where their faith is to see how much they believe? Some of them probably said, Publix is far away. And we can't feed all these people. He said, set the people on the ground. And he just started multiplying the loaves. And again, I believe he did that not to show his great power, but to show you that you can do this stuff. That's what he was constantly trying to get. In fact, the whole thing, you need to get over that you can do this stuff. It's not just about Jesus doing it. And I think that's where most people miss it. Oh, he was this because he was God. No, he was really saying the works I'm doing you can do, and you can even do greater things than this. Some say, no, I can't. Well, he just told you you can. All right? So what are some of the miracles that Jesus performed? First of all, water into wine. The first miracle, water into wine. Next, he multiplied the loaves and fish to feed thousands. He was in the healing business. Now imagine a man in the healing business. How many of you know hospitalization is a major business today? My wife's aunt had a stroke about 3 weeks ago. She's been in one hospital about 2 weeks, and they said the bill is about $250,000 for 2 weeks. Don't tell me they're not in business. Now, I'm not putting down medical science, but that's a whole lot of money for someone that's just laying there in a vegetative state that cannot even speak. So imagine Jesus, he's in the healing business. How could he be broke? I mean, if you're going around healing people, okay? People tend to honor people that take care of people. He raised the dead. He manifested money from a fish's mouth to pay taxes. He caused a large draft of fish to appear regularly for fishermen that needed fish. And remember, those guys were in the fishing business. So what I'm saying is, first of all, Jesus was not poor, and he was continually trying to get the people to see you can manifest abundance. Now, how many of you know that you can manifest abundance? In fact, you are manifesting what you have in your life right now. Now, I want to be a little bit in your face and just say, what you're getting right now, you are manifesting. No, I'm not. It's not my fault. It's the government. It's my boss. It's my stupid wife. No, you are manifesting. Why? Because your mind is a magnet. And your mind is attracting to you things. It's called the law of attraction. That's the great message of The Secret is the law of attraction. The law of attraction is, what would you say the law of attraction is? Someone tell me in so many words. Okay.
and it draws it back to you.
Excellent. That's right, Allison. You attract or you become what you think about, right? And people laugh at that all the time, but it is true because your mind is a magnet. Now, consciousness is the arrangement of your mind. And everything happening in your life is a result of consciousness. Your mind can be arranged to draw things or to reject things. In the second session, we're going to take a little coffee break and I'm going to do a little short second session. We're going to talk about affirmations of health a little bit. Why? Because so many people are sick that don't have to be sick. You know where most people are sick? Right here. And that sickness is manifesting in their body. And they're always talking about my sickness. Anytime you say my sickness, you have mentally claimed something that doesn't belong to you. Why? Sickness is not a part of the plan, nor is poverty. So when you say my headache, my this, my that, but you're now attracting that to you. Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
Just real quick, I was watching a video because I wanted to send it to a friend of ours whose mom was going through some challenges with cancer. And so I said, oh, it's a real good video. Let me pull it up. I said, let me watch a little bit of it first. So I pulled it up and it was a gentleman who had been healed of cancer twice.
Right.
And he said he couldn't believe when he went for the chemotherapy treatment and he would walk in the door and other patients were there. He said they actually said out of their mouth, I'm here for my poison.
My poison. I'm here for my poison.
And every time he went, he was astounded at how many people walked in the door, and those are the types of things they were saying.
Yeah.
He said instead he would put his hands on the, whatever, I guess it's a liquid, I don't know, whatever. He would put his hands on there and he would say, thanks that this is going to heal my.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Well, you know, people, they really think you're weird when you talk about this stuff. But to say, that's why I like you guys. We're a community of weirdos here because we're thinking positive. We're talking positive. And I'm telling you, people will really look at you like you are crazy. But when they say, I'm here for my poison, they'll give me my poison. Well, that sounds a lot worse than I am healthy, I am happy, I am prosperous. Oh no, I wouldn't say that, but I would say I'm here for my poison. Folks, we live in an extremely negative world. And it's time for some positive people to rise up and change things. People are often talking about changing the world. I really think the change starts with you. Don't worry about changing the world. Change your thinking and change your life, and that change will be in the world. Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So this really starts with you. And I've chosen not to claim my sickness, okay? People look at me, yeah, but that's you. You're just so up there in consciousness. You can develop a consciousness where you just don't start claiming and accepting sickness or even poverty, all right? Did you ever hear Jesus or see him go around saying my sickness? Never. You never go around, I got my sickness, I've got my this and my that. All right, but it's a negative thing, and a part of our challenge is to help bring a positive message. So let's talk about the millionaires of the Bible. Lack of understanding has led to poverty. Lack of understanding is one of the main reasons for poverty. First of all, think about this. There really is no poverty except the poverty created by the mind of man. The whole planet is rich, isn't it? I mean, when you go outside tonight, just look at the trees. How much are the trees worth? Think about the oxygen you breathe. Think about the birds, the animals, and think about the fish of the sea and the whole planet, the way things reproduce after their kind. This planet is a rich, rich planet, isn't it? People are talking about running out of food. We will never run out of food. That is a lie. That is a poverty mentality. And the poverty in the world, all of it was created from the mind of man. Why? Because as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And when you think poverty, you're going to produce poverty. Now, there are reasons for this type of thinking that we need to understand, and we'll get into those in a little deeper session. But you got to realize, first of all, that all the poverty is created by the minds of men. You go to the bad neighborhoods where poverty is reigning and crime is reigning, guess what? They're thinking poverty, they're thinking crime, they're acting on it. You go to the nice, clean neighborhood where everything is manicured and everybody's riding around on golf carts like Peachtree City. Guess what? You just have a different level of consciousness and a different way of thinking, and those people are bringing forth from the inside a lack of understanding. We have regarded people of the Bible as great people, but we have never regarded them as millionaires. Now, tonight we're going to talk some about the fact that Jesus was a millionaire. Okay, some people said, now, wait a minute. How could you say Jesus was a millionaire when he said, I had nowhere to lay my head? First of all, the term millionaire, we measure it by a person with $1 million. Is that right? But millionaire really represents a happy, prosperous individual. That's what the word really means in its general sense. Now, I know literally it means you've got over $1 million in assets, or today they say you earn over $1 million a year, they consider you a millionaire if you're earning over $1 million. But with Jesus, it wasn't about how many Ben Franklins he had in the bank. It's about his ability to access the Ben Franklins. Does that make sense? So when he needed money, what did he tell Peter to do? Go catch a fish. Fish, we need money. Go catch a fish. Listen, Jesus, you don't understand. We need money. I don't have time to fish. Go catch a fish. There's going to be money in the fish's mouth. Guess what? Go pay the taxes. And a lot of people don't realize, but he didn't just pay his taxes. He paid the taxes of his taxes. He paid Peter's taxes, and he paid all of his staff's taxes out of that. He paid taxes for all of his immediate staff out of that money. All right? Now think, how can a man be broke when he can manifest money out of a fish's mouth, when he can multiply loaves, when he can heal multitude and turn water into wine? How in the world can he be a broke man? Have you ever thought much about that? Now, if he didn't hoard or have a bank account, but the true wealth is not what you have on the outside anyway. This is why he told some people, sell everything you have, give to the poor, and you're going to have treasure in heaven. And he wasn't saying treasure when you die and go to heaven, because heaven represents the heavenlies right around us. It's called the ether in Napoleon Hill's book. See, the real wealth of yours is all right around this planet in what we call the ether. And when you think into that realm and get rid of anxiety and worry, you start to draw and manifest that wealth in this planet. So we're not even thinking about material stuff. I don't care about material stuff. Material stuff comes and goes, but the internal kingdom, as Jesus called it, the kingdom of God, he called it, produces the results we need. And he knew how to operate in that kingdom. So he's never worried about the IRS or IRIS. Anybody worried about IRIS out there? Oh, the IRS, they're after me. Or he's never worried about his bills. He was never worried about how to transport his staff around. He knew that he could manifest the money. The Bible is the greatest prosperity textbook ever written. The word gold appears in the Bible over 400 times. Now think about that. You know, we have a little gold on our fingers. Anybody have some gold here? And we look at it like, oh man, it's a nice ring or a nice bracelet. The word gold is in the Bible over 400 times. Wasn't he trying to tell us something? And next to the subject of salvation, more is written in the Bible about money, giving, stewardship, and financial matters than anything else. Other than salvation, money is the main message of the Bible. Now, a lot of us emphasize other things, but you've just been listening to the wrong teachers. And now it's time for some new teachers to teach prosperity. The objective of the Bible is to get us beyond a material consciousness of prosperity into a spiritual consciousness of prosperity. Okay, does this make sense so far? Yeah. Now, and this is what Jesus was constantly demonstrating. And I want to say this, and I don't want to say it to put people down, but it's not all about how strong your faith is either. It's about how strong your consciousness is. Instead of thinking, okay, I've got strong faith. Now, I know faith is good and faith is relevant, but it's really about your consciousness and what you're thinking about, because what you're thinking about, you're bringing about. You are attracting to you what you're thinking about every day. Does that make sense? Oh, a friend of ours, and I don't want to talk too much about it. She may see this video or hear it, but she just kept talking poverty, kept talking lack, kept talking. Lady has several doctorate degrees, and my wife just told me recently she's now homeless. I said, well, remember, she kept talking about how broke she